Teenage Naturally Podcast with Sarah and Michael.
Hey, Michael. Getting your afternoon coffee too?
Oh, hey, Sarah. Yeah, I desperately need this. It's been one of those Mondays, you know?
Tell me about it. The morning meetings were endless. So, Michael, we've been working together for a few months now, but I realize I don't really know much about you outside of work. Are you from a big family?
You know, that's funny you ask. I actually am. I have two siblings, an older sister and a younger brother, so I'm the middle child.
Oh, that's nice. The middle child, huh? They always say middle children have it the toughest.
Yeah, I've heard all the theories about middle child syndrome. Honestly, though, I think it worked out well for me. My sister was always the responsible one, and my brother was the baby who got away with everything, so I just kind of flew under the radar.
That's one way to look at it. So what does your sister do?
She's actually a doctor, a pediatrician to be specific. She lives about 2 hours away with her husband and their two kids. And my younger brother, he works in IT. He's the tech genius of the family. Anytime someone has computer problems, guess who gets the call?
Poor guy. But that must be handy for family tech support. Are you three pretty close?
Yeah, we get along really well, actually. We try to meet up at least once a month for dinner or something. My sister and I are especially close. There's only a 2-year age gap between us. My brother is 5 years younger than me, so growing up, he was kind of the annoying little kid. But now that we're adults, we have a lot more in common.
That's wonderful that you've stayed close. I think that's pretty rare these days. What about your parents? What do they do?
Well, my dad's retired now, but he used to work in construction. He was a project manager for a big company. And my mom was a teacher for 30 years before she retired. Elementary school, second grade specifically.
Oh, wow, a teacher. That must have been interesting growing up. I bet she didn't let you get away with much when it came to homework.
You have no idea. She was always very involved in our education. But honestly, looking back, I'm grateful for it. She instilled a real love of learning in all three of us.
That's really sweet. So, where do your parents live now? Are they still in the area?
They actually moved to Florida about 3 years ago. They bought a condo near the beach, living the retired life, you know? They love it down there. The weather's great year-round, and they've made a bunch of friends in their community.
That sounds lovely. Do you get to visit them often?
I try to go down maybe 2 or 3 times a year, usually for Thanksgiving or around the holidays. My siblings and I all converge on their place, and it gets pretty chaotic with all the grandkids running around. What about you, Sarah? Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Actually, I'm an only child.
Oh, really? What was that like growing up?
You know, it had its pros and cons. On one hand, I got all of my parents' attention, which was nice. I never had to share anything or fight for time with them. But on the other hand, it could get lonely sometimes. I always wished I had a sibling to play with or talk to, especially during those teenage years. I can imagine.
Did you have a lot of cousins or friends nearby to make up for it?
Not really, unfortunately. My family is scattered all over the country. My dad's side is mostly in California, and my mom's family is in Maine. So we'd see them maybe once or twice a year, but that was about it. I had to rely on making really good friends at school.
That must have made you pretty independent, though, right?
Definitely. I learned to entertain myself and be comfortable being alone. I think that's actually helped me a lot in my career. I'm very self-sufficient.
That's a great way to look at it. So what do your parents do for a living?
Well, my mom's a nurse. She works at the regional hospital in the ICU. She's been doing that for almost 25 years now. And my dad works in finance. He's an accountant for a mid-sized firm.
Oh, wow. ICU nursing. That's intense work. Your mom must be incredibly dedicated.
She really is. The hours can be brutal, especially with the night shifts, but she loves what she does. She always says she can't imagine doing anything else.
That's admirable. Do your parents still live in the house you grew up in?
Actually, yes. They're in the same house in Connecticut. It's a 3-bedroom colonial in a quiet neighborhood. I keep telling them they should downsize now that it's just the two of them, but my mom won't hear it. She's very attached to the place. All the memories, you know?
I totally understand that. My parents were the same way before they moved. It took them years to finally make the decision. So, Sarah, are you married or do you have a partner?
I am. I've been married for about 4 years now. My husband's name is David.
Oh, that's great. What does David do?
He's a high school history teacher. Actually, he's at work right now, too, probably dealing with rowdy teenagers as we spook.
Well, tell him he has my respect. I don't think I could handle teaching high schoolers. Do you two have any kids?
Not yet. We're thinking about it, but we want to wait another year or two. We just bought a house last year, so we're trying to get settled first. What about you? Are you married?
I am, yeah. I've been married for 7 years now. My wife's name is Jennifer, but everyone calls her Jen.
7 years. Congratulations. What does Jen do?
She's a graphic designer. She actually works from home most of the time, which is nice. She does freelance work for various companies, logos, marketing materials, website design, that kind of thing.
Oh, that's cool. It must be nice that she has that flexibility.
It really is, especially now that we have kids. We have a son and a daughter. Tyler is 5 and Emma just turned 3.
Oh, those are such fun ages. Well, I imagine challenging too.
You have no idea. It's complete chaos most of the time. Tyler just started kindergarten, which has been a big adjustment. And Emma is in that phase where she wants to do everything herself, but can't quite manage it yet, so there are a lot of meltdowns.
That must be fun, but also exhausting, I'm sure.
It definitely is. But honestly, I wouldn't trade it for anything. They're amazing kids. Do you see your parents often, being in Connecticut and all?
I try to visit at least once a month. It's about a 3-hour drive from here, so it's doable for a weekend trip. David and I usually go up there, or sometimes they'll come visit us. We're a very close-knit family. Even though it's small, it's pretty much just the 3 of us. Well, 5 now with David and his parents.
That's nice, though. Quality over quantity, right?
Exactly. I think being an only child made me really value the relationships I do have. I'm very close with my parents, probably closer than I would be if I had siblings to share their attention with.
That makes sense. My relationship with my parents is good, but it's definitely different with the 3 of us kids. We all have our own dynamic with them.
How interesting. So, what do you all do when you get together? You mentioned visiting your parents in Florida.
Oh, it's pretty low-key usually. We'll hang out at the beach, go out to dinner, maybe play some board games in the evening. My dad loves to grill, so we usually have at least one big barbecue. The kids love the pool at my parents' complex, so they spend hours in there.
That sounds really nice. We usually have a big family get-together for the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas especially. Even though my family is small, David's family is huge, so we rotate. Last year, we did Thanksgiving with my parents and Christmas with his family.
How big is David's family?
Oh my goodness, enormous. He has 3 siblings, and most of them are married with kids now, plus all the grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins. When we all get together, there are probably 30 people in one house. It's completely overwhelming for me, coming from such a small family.
I can imagine. That's quite the contrast. Do you enjoy it, though?
You know, it took some getting used to, but I actually love it now. It's what I always wished I had growing up, that big, chaotic family energy. Everyone's talking over each other, kids running everywhere, multiple conversations happening at once. It's wonderful.
That's a great attitude. I think that's one of the benefits of marriage. You get to experience a different kind of family dynamic than what you grew up with.
Absolutely. David always says he envies how close and calm it is with my parents. He loves visiting them because it's so peaceful compared to his family gatherings.
The grass is always greener, right?
Exactly. So, with your kids being so young, do you think you'll have any more?
My wife and I go back and forth on that. Some days we think 2 is perfect, and other days we think about having 1 more. But then Tyler and Emma both have a meltdown at the same time, and we're like, nope, 2 is plenty.
That's hilarious and probably very wise. My parents always said they were happy with just 1, but I think part of that was financial too. Raising kids is expensive.
It really is. We're already thinking about college funds and everything. It's crazy to think about.
Well, you have some time before that becomes a reality.
True, true. All right, my coffee's ready. I should probably get back to work before my inbox explodes.
Yeah, me too, but this was really nice. We should chat more often.
Definitely. It's nice to know your coworkers beyond just project deadlines and meetings. See you later, Sarah.
See you, Michael.
All right, everyone, welcome back. So, you just heard Michael and I have a natural conversation about our families by the coffee machine. Now, we're going to break down all the key phrases and expressions we used so you can use them in your own conversations.
That's right. Talking about family is one of the most common small talk topics in English-speaking countries, especially when you're getting to know someone new. So let's dive into the phrases and teach you how to use them naturally. Asking initial questions.
Let's start with how to begin a conversation about family. I opened with, "Are you from a big family?" This is a great open-ended question because it doesn't just ask if someone has siblings, it invites them to tell you about their entire family situation.
Exactly. It's less direct than asking, "Do you have brothers or sisters?" But it's friendly and conversational. Here are some other ways you could start this conversation.
You could ask, "So, are you from a big family?" Notice the word so at the beginning. This is very natural in casual English. It makes the question feel less abrupt.
Another common one is, do you have any brothers or sisters? This is more direct and specific. Notice we say brothers or sisters instead of just siblings in casual conversation. Siblings is a bit more formal.
Good point. You could also ask, "Are you from around here originally?" This is interesting because it's not directly asking about family, but it often leads to that topic naturally. When someone says where they're from, they'll often mention if their family still lives there.
And if you already know someone is married or has mentioned their spouse before, you can simply ask, how's the family? This is perfect for people you see regularly, like coworkers or neighbors.
Let's practice the pronunciation. Are you from a big family? The emphasis is usually on big.
Do you have any brothers or sisters? Maybe brothers, maybe sisters.
Describing your siblings.
Now let's talk about how to answer when someone asks if you have siblings. Michael said, "I have 2 siblings, an older sister and a younger brother."
This is a complete answer because I didn't just give the number, I also described who they are. You could also say, I have 1 older brother, I have a younger sister, I have 3 siblings, 2 sisters and a brother.
And if you don't have any siblings, the phrase is, "I'm an only child." This is much more natural than saying, "I don't have siblings" or "I have 0 siblings."
Let's practice that. I'm an only child.
Now talking about birth order is really common. Michael said, "I'm the middle child." The 3 main phrases are, "I'm the oldest," "I'm the middle child," "I'm the youngest."
You can also say youngest of 3 or oldest of 4 if you want to specify how many siblings you have. For example, I'm the youngest of 5.
Another natural way to talk about siblings is describing your relationship with them. Michael said, "My sister and I are especially close." You could also say, "We get along really well." "We're very close." "We're not as close as we used to be," if the relationship is more distant.
And when describing age differences, I mentioned,
There's only a 2-year age gap between us. Or, my brother is 5 years younger than me. You could also say, we're only a year apart. Or, there's a big age gap. She's 10 years older.
Let's practice. "We get along really well." The stress is on long and well.
Talking about parents.
This is a big part of family conversations. I asked Michael, "What does what parents do?" This is a casual way to ask about their professions. The more formal version would be, "What do your parents do for a living?" But in casual conversation, we often drop "for a living."
When answering, it's very common to use shortened, casual language. I said, my mom was a teacher and my dad's retired now. Notice I used contractions, dads instead of dad is. This is natural in spoken English.
That's right. Other common answers include, my mom's a nurse. My dad works in IT. My mother's a lawyer. My father runs his own business. And if they're retired, you can say,
They're both retired now. My dad retired last year. My mom's still working, but my dad's retired.
we also talked about where parents live. Michael said, they moved to Florida about 3 years ago. Other ways to express this?
My parents still live in the house I grew up in. They downsized to a condo last year. They live about an hour away. My mom's nearby, but my dad lives across the country.
Let's practice pronunciation. What do your parents do?
They're both retired now. The stress is on tired and retired. Maybe retired. Naturally, yes. Describing your own family, spouse, and children. Now let's talk about discussing your current family, your spouse or partner, and children. I asked Sarah, are you married? This is a straightforward, polite question.
And I answered, I've been married for about 4 years now. Other ways to answer include, yes, I've been married for 10 years. No, I'm single. I'm engaged. We're getting married next year. Or my partner and I live together downtown, if you're not married but in a relationship. I'm divorced, if that's the case.
It's also common to immediately add your spouse's name. I'm married. My wife's name is Jennifer. Or my husband's name is David.
When asking about children, the simple question is, do you have any kids? Notice the casual word kids instead of children.
Answering about children can vary. Yes, I have a son and a daughter. We have a 5-year-old boy. We have 3 kids. They're all teenagers now. Our kids are all grown up now, meaning they're adults. No, not yet, implying you plan to have them later. No, we decided not to have children.
Sarah described his children by saying, Tyler is 5 and Emma just turned 3. This is natural, giving their names and ages.
Let's practice. I've been married for 4 years.
Do you have any kids?
Talking about extended family. Extended family includes grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and so on. Sarah used a great idiom when she said, we're a very close-knit family.
Close-knit means the family is very close and supportive of each other. It's like the family is tightly woven together, like knitted fabric. This is a wonderful idiom to use.
Other common phrases for extended family. Most of my relatives live nearby. My family is scattered all over the country, meaning they live in many different places. We usually have a big family get-together for the holidays. I'm going to visit my grandparents this weekend.
Let's focus on that phrase, scattered all over. I said, my family is scattered all over the country. This is very idiomatic. You could also say, my relatives are spread out across the state, or we're all over the place geographically.
And family get-together is the casual term for a family gathering or reunion. You could say, we're having a big family get-together next month, or we usually do a family reunion every summer.
Let's practice pronunciation. We're a very close-knit family. Both parts get stress.
My family is scattered all over the country.
Responding and keeping the conversation going.
This section is so important. It's not just about asking and answering questions. You need to respond to keep the conversation flowing naturally.
Throughout our conversation, we used lots of response phrases. When Michael told me about his family, I said, oh, that's nice. This is a simple, positive response that shows you're listening.
Other common responses include, that must be fun. How interesting. Wow, that's impressive. Oh, really? Tell me more.
You can also relate their story to your own experience. Sarah said, my family is similar, and then shared her story. You could say, my family is similar, in my case, or that's different from my experience. Or I'm the opposite. I have a huge family.
Then share your own story. Another good technique is asking follow-up questions. When Michael mentioned his sister was a doctor, I asked, "So, what does your sister do?" Wait, actually, I asked what she does after she mentioned her. These follow-up questions show genuine interest.
Right. Follow-up questions might include, "Oh, really? What does she do now?" Or, "That's interesting. Do you see them often?" Or, "How old are your kids now?"
Let's practice some responses. "Oh, that's nice." "That must be fun." The emphasis is on the adjective.
How interesting. 3 syllables with emphasis on the first one.
Additional tips for natural conversation. Now that we've covered all the main phrases, let's talk about some tips for making your family conversations sound more natural.
First, notice how we used contractions constantly throughout our conversation. We said I'm, that's, there, we've, instead of I am, that is, they are, we have. In casual spoken English, contractions are essential.
Second, we used a lot of filler phrases and casual expressions. Things like, honestly, actually. These make your speech sound more natural and give you time to think.
Third, notice how we laughed and showed emotion during our conversation. When discussing family, it's natural to laugh, show warmth, and express feelings. Don't be afraid to show personality.
Fourth, we asked follow-up questions based on what the other person said. Don't just run through a list of questions, actually listen and respond to what they're telling you.
And finally, it's okay to share both positive and challenging aspects of family life. I mentioned being an only child had pros and cons. Michael mentioned his kids having meltdowns. Real conversations include both the good and the difficult parts of life.
Common mistakes to avoid. Let's quickly cover some common mistakes English learners make when talking about family.
First, don't say I have 2 brothers when you mean 1 brother and 1 sister. The word sibling is gender neutral, but brothers means male siblings specifically.
Second, don't forget the possessive when talking about ages. Say, my 5-year-old son, not my 5 years old son.
Third, be careful with the phrase only child. It's singular, not plural. Don't say only children when talking about yourself.
Fourth, in American English, we usually say mom and dad in casual conversation, not mother and father, which sound more formal. British English speakers might use mum.
And finally, don't forget that family is usually singular in American English. Say, my family is large, not my family are large. Though in British English, family can be plural.
Cultural notes. Before we wrap up, let's talk about some cultural aspects of discussing family in English-speaking countries.
In the United States, Canada, and the UK, asking about family is generally considered polite small talk. It's a safe topic for getting to know coworkers, neighbors, or acquaintances.
However, be sensitive to the fact that not everyone has a traditional family structure. Some people are adopted, some have divorced parents, some have same-sex parents, and some have experienced loss. That's why starting with open-ended questions like, "Are you from a big family?" is better than assuming someone has both parents or siblings.
Also, in professional settings, like our coffee machine conversation, it's generally fine to ask if someone is married or has children, but don't push if they seem uncomfortable or give brief answers. Some people prefer to keep their personal lives private.
And remember that family dynamics vary greatly. Some families are very close and talk daily, while others are more independent. Neither is right or wrong. It's just different family styles. One last cultural note, in English-speaking countries, it's common for adult children to live separately from their parents. So don't be surprised if someone says they only see their parents a few times a year, even if they have a good relationship. This doesn't mean they're not close.
All right, that wraps up our lesson on talking about family in English. We've covered so many useful phrases today.
We learned how to ask initial questions like, "Are you from a big family?" and "Do you have any brothers or sisters?"
We learned how to describe siblings using phrases like, I'm the oldest, I'm the middle child, I'm an only child, and we get along really well.
We covered talking about parents with "what do your parents do?" and responses like "they're both retired now" or "my mom's a teacher."
We learned how to discuss your own family with "I've been married for X years and we have a 5-year-old son."
We talked about extended family using idioms like close-knit family and scattered all over the country.
And we learned how to respond naturally with phrases like "that's nice" and "that must be fun," along with asking follow-up questions.
The key to mastering these conversations is practice. Try having a conversation about family with a language partner, or even practice alone by imagining the conversation.
Remember, the goal isn't to memorize every phrase perfectly. The goal is to understand the patterns and be able to use them naturally in real conversations.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. We hope this helps you feel more confident talking about family in English.
If you enjoyed this lesson, please subscribe to our channel and let us know in the comments what topics you'd like us to cover next.
Until next time, keep practicing and don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how we learn.
Happy learning, everyone!